Hey, what's going on, guys? Fizz here once again. It has been a little bit since I made a video, but this video is basically it's going to be a thank you first off, and then a short kind of talk about my current place, where I'm at with content, my thoughts on overall my content creation process so far, how it's gone for me, the whole thing, all together, and then my current plans with things that I would like to do, things that are coming, and just what the content cycle is going to look like for me moving forward. So first and foremost, a few days ago we did top just over 1,000 subs, so thank you very much for my first 1,000 subs. I appreciate it a lot. So the EK like complete guide was supposed to be the big like thank you for 1K subs. I just released a little bit early, so I hope you guys are enjoying the guide. Hope you're having fun with the build. I had a blast with the build. Definitely do recommend it. Now, yeah, just thanks a bunch, guys. I really appreciate it. Content creation so far has been, so I've like streamed, those who don't know, I actually, back in the day, I streamed WoW in 2013, actually. I was a WoW streamer. And then around the start of 2014, I think, I basically quit. The stream was going great. It was like, honestly, it was super popping off, but I streamed every day, anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a day. Because at the time, basically, I was taking like online courses for high school and stuff, because we were moving a lot due to my stepdad's job. So I basically I got tired of school hopping, so I was doing the stream thing as well. So my mom let me do online courses at an international school online, and my schedule became really flexible. So I streamed like 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. basically every night, though a lot of nights I started earlier than that and typically ran later as well. So it didn't really interfere with my school schedule at all, because at the time I was in high school, and it was going great. But playing the way that I handled content creation back then as a child completely burned me out. I quit WoW when I stopped streaming, and basically haven't really touched WoW since, outside of Classic and fiddling around with new expansions for honestly less than a week before dropping it again. Legion was a small exception to that, but I didn't last very long in Legion either. So basically there was that back then, and then like in terms of Twitch, I've streamed off and on since then, not very consistently or very long. So the whole Twitch side of things is not really new to me at all, really. It's all been YouTube. YouTube's been very, very new to me. You can probably see some old videos from me, like again back from like 2013 when I first started streaming on Twitch, and basically they're just Twitch highlights ripped and put on YouTube. The only thing that I really did was like a macro guide or something for PvP at the time, because that was what I was a PvP streamer in World of Warcraft. So yeah, I don't know. YouTube's been a lot more interesting. I originally, to be honest with you guys, I originally only wanted to do YouTube for two reasons. One, to help drive traffic to my Twitch channel, as is, very commonplace nowadays. And also to kind of like document the builds that I play, because I am very much, the person that you see in the YouTube videos is not like a highly edited thing or anything. That's actually how I am as a person. So all these builds that I play, how I explain it and everything, before I was doing it in front of a camera, I was actually doing it to my fiance. She does not play PoE. She's played PoE a few times with me, but she's not a PoE player. So I would like sit her down and I would explain to her what the builds are. And I mean, I still do that even now, streaming and doing all the YouTube stuff. I still do the same thing. I will sit her down. I'll explain the mechanics behind the build. I'll let her see. A lot of times she'll choose the MTX that I use for the builds and stuff like that. So, does she actually care? Who can say, right? But she does at least pretend to care for me, so that's cool. But I've always been, I've always been like that. I've always liked to share what I had going on in my games, even for people who obviously didn't give a fuck. But it's kind of like that same thing. I wanted to document all the builds I played in PoE, because that's like the most interesting part of PoE to me. It's like all the replayability. And that probably stems from like Ragnarok being my first big like game, and the most fun thing in Ragnarok was the job advancement, all the job changes and stuff like that. So I think that kind of like very early on kind of set like my expectations on like what I like from a game, and replayability via like different builds or different classes or whatever is something that I really, really like. It's one of my favorite things. So overall, it's been really fun. That's originally why I started the channel, but I ended up having a lot more fun with it than I expected to. Though I do kind of stress out about the content a lot. You'll notice there will be like large gaps in which I don't upload content. Part of that is simply because I do put a ridiculous amount of hours into Twitch as well. So like ideally, I would have like stream highlights and stuff, and a lot of stuff, you know, that I think is actually good content just being ripped from my Twitch streams and put on YouTube, but that's really hard to do without like an editor. And I am not good enough at editing currently to do that myself. And the massive time investment, as well as like me just not being good enough. I need to like actually, realistically, I should take like a class or something and get a lot better at editing so I can do that, because I think I am like personally losing out on a lot of good content that I think should be on the channel doing that. A lot of this is just random musings, you know, that I've kind of been thinking about in terms of content and like what's coming. I would like to take this opportunity though to announce the Merry Fizmas League is coming. If you don't know what the Merry Fizmas League is, I will explain it first. So basically, last league was the first league I did it, so it's called Merry Fizmas. It was in December. Basically all it is a hardcore, basically group SSF league. What does that mean? Well, it is technically hardcore trade because you can't do group SSF, right? But it's a hardcore trade league where there is literally no trading. Trading is absolutely forbidden. It's very, very similar to BPL in a way, except there's no teams. But the whole idea and the spirit of, if you don't need something, you give it to someone who does. There's no trading allowed at all, no currency involved with anything. You can only give things to people that need them. Everyone shares, basically. And outside of that, it is hardcore, obviously. And I tend to ban the most meta builds. So like things you can expect to be banned this time would be like EA ballistas in any form, seismic trap in any form, exsanguinate traps, detonate dead in any form, things like that will be banned. I will probably ban spectral helix this time around as well, because last league like a massive amount of people played spectral helix, so that I'm still on the fence with, but I'm leaning pretty heavily towards banning it. But yeah, outside of that, that's basically the only things. No trading, share everything, hardcore, and top builds are banned. Basically, there will be a ban list of things, and that's pretty much it. So the Merry Fizmas League is going to be happening. Currently, there are 2 different start dates that we are looking at, and please, 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 if you're at this point in the video, let me know if you would like to participate. First off, everyone can participate. Do not worry about it. We will crowdfund, but if goals aren't met or whatever, I will pay the difference, so don't worry about it. But if you want to play, you are completely welcome to play. We'll make sure everyone gets into play within reason. I mean, my channel is quite small, so I don't think it's going to be like too big of an issue. For reference, last time I had about like half of the subs that I do now, and we had about 50 to 60 people by the time it started tapering off in the private league. So this time my audience is about double the size. Even if you just roughly double the amount of people that will be playing in the league, roughly somewhere around 100-ish, I would imagine like 80 to 120. If it's way more, great, that's really cool. If it's less, then that's great too, whatever. But that's kind of like the number of people I'm roughly expecting. So to give you an idea of like what to expect in terms of player base, I at no point through any of the league felt like it was dead or anything. So originally, and I think I'm gonna do the same thing this time around as well, for people curious. Originally it was 10 days. I said if people were still playing a weekend, I would extend it to 20, and that's exactly what I did. 6 to 7 days in, it was still booming. There were a ton of people joining every day, and the retention was actually quite high. So I extended it to 20 days, and 20 days seemed about good, because around like day 15, like 2 weeks in, people start to taper off, and I think that's a good amount, because it's not some like race event or anything like that. It's just like a league restart and like a like a group SSF environment. So the 2 different dates that we're looking at to start is either going to be the 18th. Let me just double check to make sure I'm correct. Yeah, so it's going to be this coming Friday, the 18th, or the Friday following the 25th. Now, please let me know down in the comments which you would prefer between the 2 if you are interested in playing in the league. I will likely in a day or 2 make a pure like league announcement video, but I'm going to be saying it here as well. And then I will go through, I took a poll in my Discord. I will be polling my YouTube audience as well, and I might just make an actual voting poll on the YouTube post section as well to field as many votes as possible for when the start date should be. but I cannot wait, too much longer to get all that stuff in. So if you do want to play, please let me know as soon as possible. Commenting on this video would be the most preferable way to do so. Anyway, with that out of the way, what other content do I have coming outside of the private league? So this league, I may make a video about this, kind of like a topical video, but this league has actually been kind of weird for me to play, and I think there's a number of factors that go into it. I think one of the big things is just the release schedule. I fell victim to the new releases coming out. Not huge on Lost Ark. I'm trying to play it a little bit now, especially since if the private league ends up coming out this Friday, then it kind of feels weird to go too hard on PoE right before like a new league start situation, so I'm trying to enjoy Lost Ark a little bit right now, but the leveling in the game is terrible. I hate dailies, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that I don't like about the game, regardless of how good the endgame PvE may be. I already rate in Final Fantasy currently, so I'm not like huge on Lost Ark, but I am doing my best to give it a fair shake. Other than that, though, like Elden Ring completely sucked me in. Had an absolute blast with it. Hit about 100 hours played and then started tapering back pretty quickly. Honestly, especially since that tends to be pretty bad. To be honest, it tends to be really, really bad for like my stream. When I stream Elden, a lot of people don't like watching it. They're not interested in it. So I did not waver, or I was not flexible whatsoever on that for about the first week. But once I started to like kind of get my fill where I was okay just playing it like every few days off stream, I'm fine with that, and I think that's probably where it's going to stay unless I think up another build, because I was actually, funnily enough, debating doing like a build diary series for Elden Ring, because the game is so open and you can kind of get whatever you want, 90% of the things that you would want for whatever build you're playing very early on. So the last build I did was actually like a Dragon Mage dot build using Rotten Breath and Excite's Decay, and it was like a dot build, which is very funny in a Dark Souls-esque game, by the way. I run into the boss fight, I breathe bad breath on the boss, and then it does percent max HP, and the boss just ticks down and then dies, and it's very, very clean, very nice. And my filler spell is actually Swarm of Flies. Basically what it does is it shoots flies towards the opponent. When it touches the opponent, it explodes, and it bleeds, builds up bleed. Bleed in Elden works different than it does in PoE, because basically it fills up a meter. When the meter gets full, it procs a massive chunk of damage, and then the meter will refill again. So that was like my filler spell while the dot ticked away, because the dot lasts forever. And that was like a really fun build to play. I have found this like kind of weird issue, since like 95% of the content in Elden Ring is basically optional, and there's like very, very, very few mandatory fights. It feels kind of weird once you get a build going on what you should do. It just it's hard to put into words, because like I don't feel like I've ever had that problem in like another open world game like Skyrim. I don't feel like I've ever had that problem in Skyrim, but like when I first make a build, it's like, okay, I need to go here, get this, go here, get this, get all my talismans, blah blah blah, progress the story a little bit, blah blah blah, do this, and then it's kind of like, well, now what? Or just like run around and aimlessly kill stuff. Should I go to New Game Plus? It feels a little bit weird once you kind of like get the build going. Anyway, that was a huge side tangent, excuse me. Other than that, topical videos, I kind of just wanted to explain a little bit. Yeah, so right there, by the way, that log, stuck in a bunch of goats. My phasing fell off, stuck in a bunch of goats, fired, procced Molten Shell on a bunch of goats, and got chunked really hard. That was actually the first close call I had on the Omniscient character. Anyway, just kind of wanted to let you guys know where I've been at content-wise and why PoE videos haven't been super prevalent this league. Basically, between like health stuff and like, honestly, like I said before, I've kind of not been feeling this league super hard. I think my league start and things following felt really bad. I've had just innumerable bullshit deaths this league due to technical problems, due to bugs and things of the like. That, in addition to my like absolute utter disappointment with the new bosses, kind of left a really bad taste in my mouth early on in the league. Following that, there were the new game releases, and then I think the third really big thing is the meta to me feels incredibly stale. I do know that they buffed spells, but I think their argument for not giving us anything new to play with was that they would buff the old stuff. But realistically, I think if you're going to be buffing old stuff in lieu of adding new things, then the old stuff needs to be looked at on like a fundamental level, not just buff the numbers by a generic amount across the board. Like some of them need like mechanical reworks and things like that to like keep them interesting and or competitive at even a viable level. Because a lot of the spells I think now, like I think like, how do I want to build this? Okay, I'm going to put it on an Inquisitor. I'm going to go crit. I'm going to go hybrid. I'm going to get a Glorious Vanity, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, how do I want to build this other spell? Okay, I want to go to Inquisitor. I want to do a generic spell crit build. I'm going to get a Glorious Vanity, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, especially in, like, hardcore SSF, like, the options there is, like, yeah, there's a bunch of new spells that have been added, but in terms of how I'm going to be building the character around the spell that I'm playing, it's going to be, like, the same for all of them. Not literally all of them, but you know what I mean. Like a lot of it really doesn't add as much as it looks like it might on paper, if that makes sense. So just like in terms of like usually what keeps me going is wanting to play different builds and experiment with different stuff, and I don't feel like I really got a whole lot of that this league. And that's not to say that I'm against them. Like just like I said, focusing on existing spells in lieu of adding new ones. I think that's completely fine if that's what they want to do, but they need to actually fix the existing spells and not just add a flat amount of generic damage to them, because it's been memed to hell and back at this point, but it seems really weird that in the manifesto they're like, this is the problems that self-casting has, this and this, so we're buffing the damage, and they address like none of the actual problems they listed, like no mobility options and stuff like that for casters. Anyway, small tangent there, but I did kind of want to, like I said, list off some of the reasons why PoE content's been a little bit sparse for me this league, and I don't think I'm really ready to branch outside of PoE. The most that I do on that is like like the topical rant videos, which is kind of what this is turning into, but this has been kind of like just a general how like a talk on how I'm currently feeling about the game and where I'm at with my content. So in terms of content, what do we have? Topical rant videos, very similar to the one you're hearing now. It wasn't supposed to be like this when I sat down to record it, but that's what it's turned into. So you have topical rant videos. You have build diaries for builds that I really like and stuff that's widely requested. Build guides, like the complete build guides with all the crafting notes and all sorts of stuff like that. And then past that, there are some like side content things I want to do. I've been debating playing around with YouTube shorts as well, like quick leveling tips or quick tips for hardcore, like very small bite-sized pieces of info or cool things about the game that I like, or small stuff like that. At some point, I would like to maybe branch outside of PoE. Maybe I will try that a little bit with Last Epoch. There's an expansion coming out for that next week or later this week or something like that. Maybe I'll make a video on that, on the build I'm playing there or whatever. I expect to still be like 99% of my content is PoE, but I don't want to be afraid to make a video about something else if I want to talk about something else, but yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at, where I'm thinking with the content stuff. The private league is coming up. Please let me know what day you prefer that. Thank you guys very much for 1K. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for all the support. I hope you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And if you guys have any ideas or things that you would like to see from me, feel free to, share that with me. No promises that I will do any of the things you ask. But, if there's a cool idea there or something that's widely requested, then I'm not opposed to trying it out and seeing how it goes. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. In terms of like build diaries, you haven't seen a lot of those because I played the EK for like literally 3 weeks out of the league. And then the last week I've played like Bone Shatter. But like I haven't like played a build, I haven't sat down and like really grinded the build. The last thing was the Omniscience Tornado Shot character. And I haven't played that a whole lot since the first video. It's like level 93 now. And you can see gameplay here. It's fine. It didn't really hold me as much as I was hoping it would. It is fun. It did pretty much live up to my expectations for the most part, but I just, I didn't really feel like playing it anymore. I still use it for like farming maps and some stuff. Basically, my project right now is getting a Cold Dot Occultist, a low life Cold Dot Occultist. I've already farmed up the shavs. And I'm in the process of trying to get a blessing at Chula. I've ran 6 Chula breach stones at this point and have not got a blessing. And the drop rate is apparently 50%, which means I'm getting Glorious Vanity, an EK Jewel 2.0 or 3.0 at this point, I would guess. My RNG this league has been comical in a tragic way. So yeah, I want to get that up. Got the shabs, already got the rest of the gear, got everything I need, got an Aegis Aurora. So I want to get a low life cold dot character up and running. Want to farm the shit out of Maven, get those Legacy of Fury boots, and then make a really zoomy RF boy. Because RF is a really, really fun build when you have explodey chests. In this case, it wouldn't be explodey chest. It would be like, because they're like explodey dot or whatever you want to call it. They burn for a % of their max HP, and the boots look really, really good. They look really fun. So I want to try to build around that. Other than that, I don't have any real plans. Hopefully, the private league pops off for a long time. And I've been kind of also playing with the idea of doing a second private league, ethical only. So ethical only private league, I haven't really decided if it would be like, 1, if I'm even going to do it, but 2, if it would be like a pure SSF or like a trade thing or like another like share everything group SSF thing. But that would be like very similar to that league Quinn did before, that kind of like fell through. The plan didn't work as intended, but basically something very similar to that, where it's like everything, like honestly everything remotely good is pretty much banned, and people are running around playing like dual strike and a bunch of like troll shit. I don't want to do that in the Merry Fizmus League, because that's a lot of, like, I've learned that's a lot how a lot of people have been like easing themselves into hardcore, and to make them come into hardcore in a situation like in an environment like that, then have to play like fucking dual strike or something when they're already like uncomfortable and aren't used to a lot of the nuances of playing hardcore. That seems like retention would be really bad, and people would have a bad experience with it and then not want to play hardcore anymore. But it's like just an idea I've had. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but it does sound really fun. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the rant here. I wasn't expecting this video to be 22 minutes long. In fact, I was actually worried that this video wasn't going to be long enough, because I just planned on saying thank you and announcing the new build and a few small things. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys again so much for your support. Let me go somewhere else in the VOD. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate it. I hope you've been enjoying the content. It should become more regular again once the private league starts. Like I said, I have a video to announce the private league officially, I guess, in like the next day or two. And then I have like a few like topical videos I want to talk about certain aspects of the game with. And I may start moving on to like 3.18 wish lists and stuff like that. You can also expect like 1 or 2 build diaries coming at some point in the next few weeks. Other than that, I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys so much once again, and I will see you in the next one. Do not forget to let me know if you plan on playing in the league, if your preferred start date is the 18th or the 25th. See you guys. Have a good one.